but everything that happened since then, I'm not surprised. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Kerr doing that in game, dude. I jumped up and got excited. Like it was one of those
Yeah.
moments where you're watching a game and you're like, oh shit. Like that's usually
Yeah.
from like something that happens in the game. Nah, it was Steve Kerr just popping off, which I'm not surprised that if there's any coach that I think would have the balls to do that on national television during a playoff game, it's Steve Kerr.
Oh,
Like that
yeah.
man does
Steve
not
Kerr,
give a fuck.
no, he doesn't care at all, bro. I remember when Smart injured Steph in the game, dude. He was red hot, dude. He got up. He was like, Smart came over to the sideline, dude. He was screaming at Smart for injuring Steph. Obviously, it was an accident. But yeah, Kerr definitely has his guys back, and he has made that very apparent. He's also made it very apparent that he will say and do whatever in the spotlight and doesn't really care.
Well, one of his players is the same way, so you get where they feel each other
Yeah,
on that. That's no hate
yeah.
either. I'm not. This is not
Wear
going to
your
be a
heart on your
Draymond hate
sleeve.
session. Yeah, this
Never.
is. I mean, someone put
Well,
like
unless
last
he
night,
plays
and
shitty, then it will. But
that's true.
no,
Well, then
never,
yeah, but
never
he
for
hasn't yet.
his
He hasn't
antics.
yet. To be fair, he is. Draymond Green has only ever delivered in the playoffs. That's a fact. That I mean, we don't need to debate Draymond, I guess,
No.
but like he's never disappointed. All right, I got all the tweets sent out, so I don't gotta look at my phone anymore. We are live here, 140. Dunny, you want to get us in here?
Yeah, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Triple H Podcast, Happy Hour Hoops. It is Thursday evening, no NBA tonight.
No, it's
Very
Doctor
sad.
Strange night. This is
Yeah.
literally what happened, Dunny. Is TNT has NHL games for the Thursday night tonight, right? So it's
Yep.
games instead of ESPN, TBS, TNT, and ESPN was like, "Nah, we're not we're not cannibalizing ourselves here. We'll just let the Celtics and Bucks and the Warriors and Grizz get another day of rest. They get another night of sleep." Very helpful for you guys, honestly. Lucked out with the Mark
Yes.
Smart situation, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, weird break in the NBA action tonight after this round and 2 games that we've had from everybody.
Yeah. It definitely is weird just because you're so in the groove, especially after once the first round goes by and you have not only NBA every night, but you have 3 games every night, and you're just then you get set in the groove. Then round 2 comes around and you still have games every night, and it's usually 2. So to have this little hiatus, like you said, it's good for some teams. Sure, it's good for people across the league just to have a little break during this madness, but yeah, for the basketball junkies, it's tough if you're looking for games tonight. But you can hang out with us. We're gonna go through all the series. We're gonna go through some news right now. Yeah, let's get started with the news.
Newsy day today. Newsy day.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, and if I'm forgetting anything here, I think I have some of the news buried in the series too. But big stuff starting with a team that's not in the playoffs, but a player who seems to grab headlines every which way he can. Ben Simmons, it was announced, I believe, yesterday, maybe 2 days ago by Woj, that he will be getting back surgery and the recovery will be at least 3 to 4 months. So my first thought on this was like, okay, well, I mean, if he needs surgery, then maybe he didn't deserve as much shit as he got, for not playing in the Boston series. And I also, to go off of that, I think
Yeah.
that the Brooklyn organization should get more shit, and more of it should be taken off Ben and pointed to the Nets organization, because they were the ones the whole time making it seem like he was so close. Nash was speaking about it like he was so close. And clearly, I mean, if he needs another surgery, obviously he wasn't that close after all. What are your thoughts on it?
That's the crazy thing is if he really needed a surgery to fix a herniated disc, how were they ever expecting him to play by game 4? And who decided it was a good idea to tell the world that, like who thought it was a good idea to leak that out and put him in that position? Because clearly the man was not physically able, and that's why he didn't want to play. It feels like it's the Nets mostly that we're expecting him to show up by a certain time. And that's a shame from an organization that, they've been through. It's been a turbulent couple years to say the least with the situation they did, but it seemed like at first they were saying all the right things about bringing Ben in and working at his pace or whatever, but they clearly didn't put their money where their mouth was when it came down to it in a playoff game. And I wonder where that leaves their relationship, because I feel like they're kind of stuck with each other at this point. Like, who's going to trade for Ben Simmons, hasn't played in 2 years, coming off back surgery, and has, as much money as he's making. Really, it's not going to be a lot of suitors, or not worth making a trade from what you had to give up in James Harden, which he's another story though, because maybe the Nets got out okay there too. That's the whole part of it, is it's that whole situation now. It just looks like a mess for everybody involved. But the Simmons thing, I just hope he gets well. I hope that he feels like, I hope it was like a weight off his shoulders getting a surgery that he knew he really needed to get done. He can go chill on his beach house, probably in LA, wherever. He's going to be laid up for the next 3 months after back surgery. It's not a bad way to spend your time. Sure, we'll see a lot of Ben Simmons streams or something like that coming up soon. So
a lot of I hope Ben Simmons.
I just hope this is what he needed to get healthy. That's the most important thing. And we'll see what happens with the Nets, because it's a weird situation that they were trying to bring him back when he needed a surgery.
Yeah. Who knows, man? I mean, I feel like they were saying way too little at some points, and then clearly, with this, obviously not saying enough. But I mean, we've spent enough time on it. The Nets aren't in the playoffs anymore. Like true. You said, hopefully this is kind of the last stepping stone for Ben, because whether you love or you hate Ben as the villain, or you love him, or you're a Nets fan, or you're a C's fan like myself, I think bottom line, like, I wanted to see him on the court in that series. Whether it was for the comedic factor, or for the Boston fans to boo him, or for him to be another villain alongside Kyrie. And then if you're a Nets fan, like, you want to see this man play. I mean, he's obviously a fantastic talent when he's out there. So yeah, we hope this is kind of the last step for him, and come next fall, he's back on the hardwood. But someone who has been playing and been playing exceptionally well, got the Lou Will Award, the Sixth Man of the Year, Tyler Hero.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
obvious, because he's basically. I'm not gonna hate. We've talked about the Tyler Hero candidacy for Sixth Man before on this podcast, but the man has delivered, and the team's delivering, and he's a huge part of it. He is a very unique talent in this league. I feel like he's now the Manu Ginobili of the league, where he's the ultra six man. Like, he's taken it. Like, there's not really another guy. Like, Kevin Love was the guy that got the other first place votes besides him, and Love he's not close to that, like the level of hero of a player he is anymore this year, or even this year and everything. So kudos to Tyler Hero, and their team's balling out too, and he's been a huge part of why they're the 1 seed this year.
Do you see Shaq last night said that Hero's on the same level as Doncic and Trae Young?
I didn't. I missed that.
That's not true.
Last night, Shaq just be saying stuff sometimes.
Yeah,
he knows he's just riling people up.
That's just not true.
The thing is, so is he saying that? Is he saying that he's a great scorer, but he's gonna get roasted on defense all the time? Because that's what Trae Young and Luka Doncic do. We're gonna talk about.
That's true. I would argue that he's
a better defender than both of them.
Yeah, I think he's a better defender than both of them easily.
Yeah.
The quote that I saw, because I didn't hear Shaq actually say it, so I don't know the full context. But the quote that I saw said that Tyler Hero was in the same conversation as Trae Young and Luka Doncic. And what I can take from that and agree with is scoring ability wise, he's in the same conversation. Yes, Luka and Trae, I think, are both better scorers, pure scorers, than Hero too. The thing that especially Luka separates from those two is, I mean, he can get his own shot whenever he wants. He can be the ball dominant guy and run an offense for an entire game. I think we've only seen Hero do that in spurts. I don't think he's at that level yet. I don't know if he'll ever have, that same type of confidence, ball dominant guy that Luka has. I don't know if he'll ever get that, but I don't think he's in the conversation. But that all being said, very deserving of the sixth man and incredible piece for the Miami Heat.
The thing about Hero too is that he's delivered in the playoffs multiple times for them now, which is
Yeah.
why I think you could talk if you wanted to. Like, I think that maybe that's where Shaq's coming from with it and everything is it's kind of a slant at those two guys as much as anything else. But Hero's delivered in some big playoff moments, and they haven't really had a big playoff moment this year. They're waxing everybody right now. I mean, they walked through they literally sat Jimmy Butler. We're like, we don't need him for game 5. We'll just close you guys out against the Hawks, and then did. And now this series is going the way it is for different reasons. But yeah, it's just kudos to Tyler Hero. And it's going to be great to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals against one of these teams, the Celtics and the Bucks, tied at 1-1. So, Dunny, where are you at? Where's your head at here with this series, which has had 2 pretty big swings of games? Game 1, you know what I'm hurt by is that I came on Degenerate Danger Zone, wonderful program with Al on Sunday, and I basically laid out the blueprint for a Celtics win, gave my bet, and it happened game 2 instead of game 1. It was 25 points from both stars. It was a domination. I said great shooting going to happen here Sunday night in the Garden. So I might have been the jinx, Dunny. That's what I'm saying. So I apologize. Or I can tell the future and just should have waited an extra day. One of the two. But how do you feel?
Right now, I feel good. All things considered, that we're tied 1-1, headed to Milwaukee. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, if you guys are just joining now in the live stream, we had essentially from Tuesday when game 2 ended, and the game 3 is not till Saturday, and Marcus Smart can recover. So I'm happy about that. But it's been a roller coaster of emotions, man. I was in the TD Garden on Sunday when the Celtics got absolutely blown out. They could not figure out how to defend the Milwaukee Bucks. Everyone was hitting their threes for the Bucks. Giannis had a monster triple-double, even though he didn't shoot that well. And then game 2, complete opposite. All Boston fans were like, we need to respond tonight or we are dead. And I don't even think Boston fans would have been comfortable with, sneaking by with a win, because that wouldn't, leave us with all that great confidence in this team moving forward in the series. But like you mentioned, the Jays showed up. The Celtics had a playoff franchise record for most threes made in a game with 20, which was just crazy to me. I just watching it, I saw all the shots go in, but I didn't think we had hit that many threes. The Jays were balling, no Marcus Smart, and we still got it done. Held the defending champs to 86 points, which is their lowest point total of the season. So yeah, couldn't have felt worse after Sunday, and really couldn't have felt better after Tuesday night. So it's going to be one hell of a series. I thought, maybe Celtics in 5 at first, which obviously is still possible, but I don't see us winning out from here on out. Looking more like a 6 or 7 game series now.
I mean, I told you it was going 7. I thought it was going 7 right away. So this is pretty much exactly how I thought it was going to play out. Just flip the games. The only thing that I'm really worried about, there's 2. So I'll give things I'm worried about with both teams, because it's been incredibly even in that they each won a game. But I think that Milwaukee basically got to play their game 1. You saw that effect on the Celtics. And then Celtics in game 2, the thing that I'm worried about is that didn't feel like their offensive game per se, as much as they were just, the shots were really just falling. But maybe that is the adjustment that needs to be made, is this team that these 2 stars need to be able to shoot at a higher level in the playoffs to be effective, because the points in the paint are the thing. Obviously, you're all Celtics fans are aware of the points in the paint, even just the 2-pointers that are coming in. And that's what Milwaukee does. Like, they just grind you out because they've got, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, and Giannis are on the floor at the same time, and you can get away with it. Like, what can you really even do with that? And then you add in a Drew Holiday, who's one of the best defenders, the best guard defenders. It's hard. It's just a lot of length that they're dealing with. And it's the opposite of what they dealt with in the Brooklyn series. Obviously, like Brooklyn like turnstiles compared to, then you turnstiles into a brick wall. But the thing I'm most interested in is what offensive adjustments will Ime make in this series looking ahead into game 3 and 4? Because we've never seen it from him, right? He's never had to make an offensive adjustment. And the adjustment isn't we hit more outside shots. Like that's not what his adjustment is going to be, right? So that's the concern for Boston side is how do they generate more points in the paint? How do they get Tatum and Brown to the line more often to get points from the line and soften up that defense somehow? Because they got Brook Lopez in foul trouble. And that's part of the effectiveness of the strategy too, is getting these guys, get Giannis Giannis had 3 fouls pretty early. He was in foul trouble the whole game. You got to get their bigs in foul trouble. So the Milwaukee side is Bud is notoriously not adjust offensively in these series. And like you said, 86 points, lowest total all year. Giannis looks super uncomfortable. Grant Williams is just a tank, like holding them up. But the thing is, they were just like, the Celtics were just like, all right, we have guys with size that can go one-on-one with Giannis. He might get his, but we think that our guys can hold up. And if you can't kick out to your shooters, like we'll live with the 2-pointers from Giannis rather than giving up these open shots. And it worked masterfully. Like it was a beautiful defensive performance without the defensive player of the year. And I don't know what Bud's going to do against that, because I've never seen him adjust or meaningfully adjust. It's just been Giannis played better. And that's why they won a title last year. It was not Bud, as we've talked about multiple times.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. I like thinking back, probably when did the Bucks dominance really start? Because it was like a few years before their championship, when they were just dominating in the regular season.
And we talked about them being disappointing.
Right. But yeah, that is an interesting point about Bud never really adjusting. That they have different players, a lot of returning guys from the championship team, but from when they started to play this brand of basketball, they've had different players, but it's always been the same style. It's like Giannis is going to get to the rim, and everyone around him is going to be able to knock down open shots. But if we take away, Giannis's easy looks or make everything difficult for him, and the people stay true to the 3-point line and defend, that what we saw on Tuesday night is what happens. So yeah, that is interesting. I wonder if we will see Bud adjust. My guess would be probably not, and they're just going to try to, they have the home court advantage now. Giannis is going to hopefully look to be better and, just try to bully the Celtics more than he was able to on Tuesday night. And then on the flip side, I think the Celtics, as far as adjusting their offensive game plan, they may not have to make too much of an adjustment because of what they did Tuesday night and the shooting clinic that they put on. That just might fluster the Bucks as it is. Like they might be thinking in the back of their head, okay, we need to defend the 3-point line like crazy now, and that will just open up lanes to the hoop. Like if they have everyone committing to the 3-point line now, that will open up driving lanes for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That will open up pick and roll opportunities. And another reason why I think I'm not so worried about the crazy outside shooting that's been going on the first 2 games is we didn't have Smart in game 2, and he's probably our best playmaker. So,
for sure.
If we can get Smart with Raw
and Pritchard and White did not look good game 2 either. They really did. Some of Pritchard's shots are just it just looks like he's terrified of this. Like he's not with it this series. And it is a tough matchup for him. Like he's not offensively.
He's always going to be the smallest guy on the court.
Exactly. Yeah.
And my last point that I want to make, I meant to mention this at the top. Rob's been back for 4 games now, but game 2, he actually was starting to look like himself again. And I think that's huge for the Celtics team. I mean, he can't cover Giannis one-on-one. I'll say it straight up. He was getting bullied when he tried to do it. But as far as, making the right reads on offense, rebounding, being a little more sure about his decisions, I think Rob has looked the best that he has since he came back. So that's also exciting for the Celtics.
Yeah, I don't think he can move laterally with Giannis. I think that's he's a big body, he's athletic, but getting him like Giannis starts moving side to side with his Euros and everything. Like Giannis's footwork is impeccable. Like that's the thing. People talk about Giannis just as a bully. Like he has like mastered a Euro step that it's just like a Godzilla Euro step. Like it's just terrifying. And there's not a lot you could do when that guy does that. Like he just takes 2 steps and he's at the rim, and he has the grace to get around you. There's not a lot you can do. But Grant Williams, I mean, shout out Grant Williams more and more. Like,
He played like a perfect game on Tuesday.
I've honestly like had a love-hate relationship with Grant since he got drafted, because everything I heard about him coming out, it was just like, that's the greatest guy in the world. Like, he just sounds like a guy you want on his team. And I've always felt like his role was destined for like I don't know. There's a lot of guys that you'll understand the category I'm trying to explain here, but like just guys that are never like starters. They're always a bench guy, but you would want on a good, like, he's always going to be on a championship level team, but he's never going to be like a starter on a championship level team. Like, he will have that role for the rest of his career, whether it's with the Celtics or whether it's with other teams. Like, he's never going to get paid $20 million a year, but he's always going to be on a good team, and he's going to probably rack up like 3-4 NBA titles by the end of it, because every good team is going to want Grant Williams there. And that was what I thought the best case scenario could be, and it's kind of what's happening with him now. And game 2 was his coming out party for it, because he really handled Giannis in a way that a lot of guys have never been able to.
Yeah, man, he was just taking Giannis's shoulders off the chest, like inviting the contact.
He's got to be in pain for these last.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He has a bruised sternum for sure. But yeah, he was inviting the contact. 6 of 9 from 3, 21 points for Grant. That's the most impressive part to me, is that he stayed poised, was knocking down his threes and covering the best player, on the planet right now. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the series it's going to be great, man. Saturday, I believe it's a afternoon game, 3:30 Eastern time. It's going to be exciting, man. I think you were right. This series probably is going 6 or 7. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be stressful for you. Yeah, you're not getting out of that.
Another series
that's going 7 and is stressful for me, and I'm not even a fan of either of these teams.
To it. Yeah.
Yo, I've never been more stressed watching basketball in my life than these 2 games. I think it has something to do with Memphis, like the arena, the city in general, because there's not a more fun place to watch a playoff basketball game. Like, the whole time, especially game 1, like game 2 was very tense too, but game 1, like, you could just feel it with the music, like the music that they have and everything. Like, and when they pick the play, like they start playing like Ja's like favorite bangers, like when he's on offense in the last possession, it just feels like the most like authentic, like, I don't know, like it's authentic, but it's also like they're making it happen. Like these different home court effects that it's like this presentation, but it's also just the energy from these fans that have been amazing forever. It's such a fun place to watch. And then we're going to get to Saturday night though. And we haven't seen Chase Center in like a big game atmosphere ever, really. Like, this is going to be the first Chase Center playoff, like, huge game. Cause the first round, like, whatever, like Golden State was in charge of that series the whole time, whatever.
Yeah.
This is like the first, like, oh damn, this is a team that's on our level coming into Chase. And we know what those Oracle crowds sounded like and what that atmosphere is like. That's just been my favorite thing about this series, is that the crowds have come to play and the teams have made, I mean, it's like a 4-point differential in this series right now. The Warriors won by 1 and then lost by 5 the other night. And that's what's going to happen all series. I feel like this is just what we're at. These teams, two teams match up so well together. Memphis is obviously the more athletic team, the younger team. They've got more energy. They've got maybe more energy. I don't know about that, but just younger. You can tell the athleticism difference, but the Warriors they're just the Warriors, man. They're so smart. They're savvy. They've all been here before. Draymond getting under everybody's skin and everybody getting under his skin. It's only 2 games in and the Draymond shit's starting. Like, I think we're in for a classic series here right now with these 2 teams. It's just been a joy to watch so far.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with all that stuff. And my first note for this game or this series that I had down here is literally, this is already going to be better than whatever the Western Conference Finals will be. Like, I think this is our mini Western Conference Finals. I don't want to sell it out because obviously, if it's a Warriors Suns, that's going to be electric too. But everything that you just said, man, the storylines, the crowds in Memphis, Ja not backing down, everyone on Memphis having the stones to, stick up for Draymond and Draymond not letting up a bit. flipping off double bird to the crowd like Kyrie, except he owned it so much better than Kyrie did, dude. Like, oh man,
It's
love it.
amazing
Love Draymond this time of year.
It's amazing that both people, that Draymond and Kyrie are the two people that threw up the birds in this playoffs. It just feels like a crescendo moment in those two careers and their paths crossing, that they both ended up with that. I will say, yeah, like this does feel like a Western Conference Finals, but when we get to the Suns, I mean, shit, bro, like this team just looks like a tank too. And that Western, that's what I'm worried about for both these teams, is how much are they just going to kill each other? And then the Suns really look like I think they're going to sweep Dallas, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't think so until the first two.
We'll get there. We'll get there later. But that's what I'm worried about for these two teams, is that there's no way this isn't going 7 in my mind. Like, if the other series, your series has more potential to go 6 one way or the other, this is 7 no matter what, because there's just going to be counters back and forth. And I don't think that the Warriors, without Gary Payton now, which Dylan Brooks suspended for game 3, I didn't think, I'm with you. I don't think he was like, I didn't think in the moment it was a super dirty play, but when you slow it down and then you take into account the injury, and Dylan Brooks does not have a great history with these kinds of things too. Like, he's kind of an asshole and has been for a while.
He also has the worst / best, however you want to look at it, flop literally of all time from when he played at Oregon.
Yeah.
If you guys want to look up that video, just type in Dylan Brooks college flop. It's literally the worst thing like you'll ever see. He wasn't even touched, and you would think that there was a sniper in the arena. But yeah, continue about
I don't know. That's a big problem for Golden State, because Gary Payton was starting to cover Ja Morant.
Yeah,
like, that's like, he was the Ja Morant guy. So I guess Wiggins will probably take more of that on now, but then that takes away some of your size with your death lineup that they've been throwing out there. And Wiggins is basically playing center, so he kind of has to be, with Draymond in there, it helps because he can take on Jaren Jackson and do all that stuff. But in those minutes, like, it's just taking away a lot of size from the interior when they go small as it is, to deal with Ja. And it doesn't seem like anybody can deal with Ja anyways. Like, whatever they try, and everybody was saying, like, everybody was like, make him go right. It's like, no, he's just better than them. Like, he's just gonna do whatever. He's the most athletic freak in the NBA, like, besides Giannis, who's just like, his body composition is his freakness. Ja is Giannis' athleticism packed into a 6'1" man. There's nothing you can do with that. There's nothing, like, you can't defend that sometimes. Sometimes he's just gonna be better than you. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and the whole like make him go left or make him go right thing, like, we all agree that Ja is a superstar, or at least on his way there. He's a star in this league. I never understand that. That's someone's critique.
You don't think that he's thought that people are going to try to make him go right, like, in his life at this point?
Yeah, but like, just any star in general to say that about, it's like, dude, he's a superstar in the NBA. He can dribble with both hands just fine. And specifically to Ja Morant, he, like you mentioned, he's one of the most athletic freaks in the league. He's going to go over you. It doesn't matter which hand he uses. And he'll use both and go right over the top. And like, that is just such a whack argument.
And it's just crazy too, because with him, like, if you watched enough of him, and that's the thing too, I think, is a lot of people this is their biggest exposure to Ja Morant, and it's nobody's fault. Not a lot of people watch the NBA as much as we do and everything else, but there's a lot of people that this is like not the first time they've seen Ja, but the first time they've seen him in this kind of spotlight, or first time they've really thought of him in this kind of spotlight. When you put him up against Steph Curry, like, Steph Curry has like 7 commercials on during every NBA game. Yeah. Like, if you turn every commercial, it feels like it's just Steph Curry back to back to back to back to back. I see Steph Curry as a mime now. I never thought I would see that in my life. But so when you put him at that pedestal now, he's starting to get like superstar hate too, out of nowhere too. It's just like that's when you know you've really made it, is when people are coming at you for like the dumbest shit, because Ja just makes the the layup package that Ja has, no one else in the league has. The moves that he can make at the rim are dumb moves for most NBA play, like every other NBA player except him, because you know he's gonna make shit happen. And I think that's
Yeah.
the thing that drives people that are just getting exposed to him like crazy, because that game one, and even when he struggled against Minnesota, you're like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you can't be trying all this shit. But it's like, no, like he is the person who can, like, he is an exception that people aren't used to, I feel like, when it comes to some of that discourse.
Right, because when it works, you put up 47 on Steph, and your team gets a victory and ties the series at 1-1.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do. Is getting back to the Dylan Brooks thing though. It's interesting. For a lot of different reasons. Like you said, we kind of talked about it at the very beginning of this. If you were here before the intro, I get it. I'm fine with him getting kicked out of that game. I'm fine with the flagrant 2. I'm surprised that he got suspended, honestly. Everything that's transpired since the illegal foul, I'm not surprised in that sense, because of the attention it got, and that kind of the outrage from the Warrior side and this and that, and the severity of Gary Payton II's injury. But as far as like the act goes, I don't think he should have been suspended for Game 3. But ultimately, he is, and I like the point that you brought up about defending now, because now, at least for most of the game, you're going to have to ask, I assume, Steph or Clay or Jordan Poole to try to check Desmond Bane for a whole game. And this is a guy who's been really quiet to start the series, but he is far bigger than all 3 of those guys. And he can shoot and he can get to the basket at will. So Desmond Bane moving forward here, especially with Dylan Brooks missing Game 3, is a guy to watch moving forward in the series.
So looking forward, I think this is going to, after all that praise I just gave Ja, Golden State, I mean, they won Game 1 and they lost by 5. They did their job and split. I find it really hard to see a path of Memphis beating Golden State in Chase Center. I feel like this could get to 3-1 pretty quickly, because I feel like Game 3, I'm just chalking up to Golden State. The energy in that building Saturday night is going to be unlike a lot of other like arenas will like a lot. It's Warriors playoff game, and this is, maybe it's a little biased because I've seen watched too many games that I've cared about inside Oracle and everything, but it's one of the most terrifying places to play a road playoff game. That crowd and the energy they get if Steph gets going, but I think Poole is kind of there too, because he could go on those Steph-like streaks of shooting. Like, I thought Poole, another thing I said on Degenerate Danger Zone that was wrong on Sunday, I was like, I don't know about Poole in this series. I was like, I don't know if he's going to hold up defensively. They might just not give him the minutes, and I don't know what he's going to do against that length against him. Like, is he going to show up? And what does he do? Game 1 puts up over 30 in what is basically his coming out party in the playoffs. And so I think that I have a hard time seeing Memphis win in Golden State, and it might not matter because they have 2 more home games still. And if they, if it gets to 3-2, or if they snap, they can. It'd be hard. As I'm saying that, it'd also be hard to see Golden State win all 3 of their games at home too against this Memphis team. So I don't know. It's a tough spot for Memphis, because that Game 1, like, it was right there. Like, they could be up 2-0 so easily here.
Yeah.
With that scoop shot, and this is what it changes. And now they're the team on the defense, and you're going to face the Warriors in San Francisco, to try to go even out a series. It just hasn't happened. I haven't seen it happen a lot. Maybe that's just what it is. There was the stat they put up the other day. Within series, I think they're 19-2 in series when Clay, Draymond, and Steph are all together, or something like that. Something absurd. And their only 2 losses are obviously the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
since 2015, since they started the run. Like, before that, they obviously lost series, but since 2015, they're 19-2 in series. So my brain just can't see Memphis going in there and winning these games. That's basically the roundabout point I was trying to get to.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and you are high on this series for a reason. It's a tough one to anticipate what's going to happen. You surely really can't take a guess, although you might as well, judging by how the first two games went. It kind of seems like a coin flip at this point. But I agree. Where I think definitely next game, I think the Warriors should have a lot of motivation from Draymond's camp. All the way down to what happened with Gary
How
Payton,
how
and
great
then
is
no
it that
Dylan
we just get
Brooks.
Draymond's got his podcast, and that's where we just get the Draymond info. Like he just comes on, he's like,
Inspiring,
I'm gonna
bro.
break down game 2 of
Yeah.
the Memphis. It's like this, like I love it. It's
Dude,
great.
or when he got ejected and literally just went straight to the airwaves.
He's like, this is what happened. This is why. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And one of the
I
things,
do love how authentic he is, bro. It's awesome. It's great for the league.
oh yeah, and people mad at him and whatnot. The JJ Redick clip from yesterday with Mad Dog Russo, which Mad Dog has been ridiculous for 30 years. So I don't. This is just like our generation. I don't know if you're familiar with Mad Dog. I've got Yes
Yeah.
Network on my house for the whole time. Like I'm sure you are. But this is like I feel like our generation who's not familiar because he's just old. That show has been gone for so long. All that stuff. This is his thing, and the thing that's the kind of takes about Draymond that is just like what are we doing here, bro? Like clearly people want to hear what he has to say, and JJ did it perfectly. Like he's got a job with Turner. Like one of his podcasts is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Like he knows what he's doing. He's a marketing fucking genius, is what he is. He's getting kicked out of games, flipping people off, whatever, and then more people are gonna go listen to his damn podcast after the game. Like
Yeah,
we're sucked into it, but it's smart.
He also hops on the TNT broadcast while he's still actively playing.
Those are great moments.
Awesome.
When he was doing the All-Star game, they were just roasting him while he's on the sidelines and he can't say anything about it. It's just great. Like, what more could you ask for?
And I think what I don't want to get misconstrued is it's not like us or JJ is saying at all that no one shouldn't dislike Draymond. Like he's a villain to some teams. He's a villain to a lot of teams. He's a villain when he plays the Boston Celtics for me. It doesn't mean I don't respect his game and think it's awesome what he does for the league. And I don't think JJ was saying that at all either. Like obviously, people are gonna hate certain players. That's a great part of the game too. It's just hating the guys that you hate and loving the guys that you love. And it can be both sometimes. And Draymond is definitely one of those guys for me. I hate him when he plays the Celtics. Love him pretty much 99% of the other times.
Agreed. So let's get into the less exciting series. That's a nice way we'll put it. Miami up 2-0 on Philly. We're going to Philly tomorrow night. Not us. We're not actually going to Philly. The series is going to Philly tomorrow night. Joel Embiid supposedly getting named league MVP tomorrow night. How did you feel when we were discussing that last night in the group chat? Because to be honest, I'm not surprised. Like I understand how we're going to get there, and I can talk about that in a minute, but I'm still shocked that this is what we're going to end up with. And I don't think it's the right choice.
I don't either. I think the Joker Jokic is definitely my MVP if you ask me, or if I had a vote, that's who I would vote for. And the reason I was surprised isn't because Embiid's far off numbers-wise, because obviously he's not. He had a fantastic season too. He deserved to be number 2 in the conversation all year long, but that's where he was. I mean, he simply just does not impact, or at least this season did not impact the game the way that Jokic did. He also didn't have his number 1 scorer or his number 1 teammate and their third option, Michael Porter Jr., and it made it more impressive. Like the people who are using the argument that, they got stomped by the Warriors in the first round. It's like, that's not what the award has nothing to do with that. The people's minds should have already been made up, whether they were or not is one thing. Embiid, the Sixers did a great job in the first round with the Toronto Raptors. He played great all season. Of course, he had to deal with, Harden coming in, Simmons never playing. So not that Embiid didn't have to deal with his own shit, but I mean, come on. I think it's Jokic. It's gonna be wild. Like if this rumor is true that all these officials or NBA execs are going to this game in Philly on Friday night. Embiid set to return. Like if Embiid accepts his MVP trophy with a mask on, that would be kind of sick.
That's true. That's
I'll
an
give him
underrated.
that.
And he's out. And he's out for Game 3. That's. Did you
Oh,
see
I
that
didn't even
earlier?
know that.
Oh,
No.
okay. I'm
Wow.
breaking news to Dunny right now. Yeah, he's listed as
Wow.
out. He's listed as out right now for Game 3.
Damn it.
So
I thought I was very tuned in today. Apparently not. That got
it
announced
was within
today.
the last hour. It was in
Oh,
the
okay.
last little bit. Yeah. So
So no mask.
it's gonna
Then,
be
probably.
very weird. I mean, he might be masked up. Who knows?
Yeah,
Like
just
he's still
cause.
just rocking it on the sidelines, whatever.
Oh, so they're going down 0-3. That's what you're telling me.
That's the thing. Like we didn't really have hope for them without Embiid to begin with.
No.
And
I don't know. I didn't have too much
nothing
hope
that they showed
with Embiid.
Were you surprised? Were you actually surprised that James Harden has not come through at all? Like we've talked about it and we've said we won't trust him until we see it, and we've talked about how old guards look like this. And I feel like this is just what it is. Like he's an older guard. He's lost his fastball a little bit. He can't be relied on as the number one scorer, and he hasn't been able to reliable in the playoffs anyways. And this is just what it is. Like this is just what it is with this dude. So are you surprised in any way, or did you think that maybe there was just a little bit of magic left in there in one of those games in Miami?
I am surprised. I mean, like everything that you just said is true. Like he isn't showing up. He's he's lost his fastball. All that. That is all very true. But I am surprised, man. This is James Harden. This is a guy who everyone was like all of these trades that were being thrown out. I mean, it still literally makes me sick that so many Boston fans were literally like, we need to trade James.
Could you imagine?
James Harden?
Could you imagine if that happened?
Dude, I would
how horrible it would be right now.
Probably be a Memphis Grizzlies fan if that happened.
It would have been the worst.
Yeah, obviously that was a joke, but no, I would have been pissed though. Like that's crazy that was like a thought, and that people thought that we would have got better if we did that. Dude, Harden just, I mean, I don't know if it's a lack of motivation, or what. And I guess I'm not surprised that he's underperforming, because he's pretty much for his whole career done that in the playoffs. Is as even though he's been exceptional in some regular seasons and his time with Houston and all that. But I mean, we have the numbers right here, and we can talk about this in a second. If Tyrese Maxey is more valuable to the Sixers than James Harden, but Maxey's averaging 26.5 points per game this season or this series on 47% shooting. Harden is under 20 points per game, 19.5 on 39% shooting. Stephen A on First Take today said that he hasn't shot more than 20 shots in a game since he's arrived at Philly. Like, dude, you're James Harden and there's no Embiid. Shoot 40 times. Shoot 35 times. You guys need to score the ball to beat this Heat team.
He can't get loose, man. That's the thing.
Yeah,
he can't,
that's what they were saying on First Take too. He can't even get separation, which is crazy.
I saw on Debatable the other day. They threw up a stat that last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I don't know. In a past year, I think it was last year, he was shooting 49% on floaters. This year, 33%.
Wow.
I mean, that's it. Like that's like when you can't hit your floater.
That's the difference.
Like,
yeah.
It's just that's the athleticism. There's just been a drop off. Like it's a noticeable drop off too at this point.
Yeah, and like, we can speculate all you want. Like Stephen A was saying today that he thinks that one year where he put on the weight at the end of his time in Houston when he was trying to get out, he's saying that completely.
Can we talk about
off.
Stephen A has just been throwing heaters since the playoffs. Like he saved everything for the playoffs, and he's like, I'm getting this shit off.
Like, said the Lakers should trade LeBron yesterday.
Did you see the meme of JJ Redick, just JJ's face where he's just like, what the fuck is having JJ on for these First Take segments? Like I'm sure that he is like his blood is actually boiling while he's sitting there, but it makes for great television. And it's one of the best moves that First Take's ever done, because he's masterful at it. But yeah, Stephen A's been out of pocket, man. He's been going crazy.
Yeah, he really has been. But I mean, dude, is Harden done? Like as far as being James Harden, this series,
I'm ready to say yes.
I mean, this series is just showing that. It's really, really crazy, man. And that's kind of like what I'm getting at too is like he averaged nearly a triple double in Brooklyn last year. And I understand that he rebounds and he play makes very well too. If I'm Doc Rivers, dude, I'm telling you to like stop with how you usually play the game and be James Harden the scorer this series,
Mm-hmm.
because he needs to at least try. Shooting under 20 times and on the road to getting swept here. Like if they go down 3-0 and he has another game where he shoots under 20 tomorrow night, under 20 shots, what, like literally what's the point? Like you guys are just going out there to lose. You don't have
No, you're
anyone
right.
else. Maxey can't do it by himself yet. He's proving right now that he's a better scorer than you at this moment, but he can't do it by himself. You have like that dude Korkmaz and George's Nang on the court. Like that, those guys aren't needle movers. You're not going to win. DeAndre Jordan's your starting center. Like you need James Harden, and he has been non-existent.
Yep. But let's talk about Miami for a second, because as much negative stuff, and we can make fun of Harden and Philly, whatever, Miami is just going to probably sweep this team and be waiting for Milwaukee or Boston, who just went through a knockdown drag out series. Miami has looked the part the entire time. Like even without Butler in Game 5, without Lowry, with this little bit of stretch. I don't know. I still think that Boston or Milwaukee is going to be the finals team over Miami. But I would have never been surprised if Miami ended up in the finals, and they're just so solid. Like there's really nothing you can pick at with them. They have the guys that can take over when they need to. Their defense is impeccable. They have great playmaking, great shooting. I guess the only thing you could really complain about is just that if they're, I don't know, like, because the star level thing, like Jimmy Butler, if you want to compare him to like a Giannis or a Tatum or whatever those guys, like he's not going to be put up on higher on people's lists of like best players in the league or whatever. But does it really matter when the combination of him, Lowry, and Bam, like that combination of three is just as good as any in the league? I think just the way that they play together, the way they play off of each other, and their collective impact. And you put the rest of that team and probably the best coach left in the field. They're a scary team looking toward. And I'm disappointed in the home court advantage though, because there's still a very late arriving crowd in Miami right now. And I know that Miami sports fans are fickle as it is, but come on, guys. It's the second round. Maybe the Eastern Conference Finals, if Joel Embiid was playing, I bet you those people were there. But the second they know they're winning, they're just like,
yeah.
So they'll fill it out. If it's a Miami-Boston too, like we know that rivalry, that it runs deep for the last 15 years. They'll be packed out in there for that. But I've been disappointed in Miami, but not surprised. Disappointed though.
Yeah, definitely disappointed in the fans, man. You have a fantastic team. I agree. They have the best coach, left in the mix here, and Coach Spo. He's amazing, dude. He embodies Heat culture. He pretty much created this new age of Heat culture. Bam Adebayo is the dude for me this series.
He's such a freak, man. He really is.
I mean, he just sees the opportunity. He had a monster game 1. No Embiid game 2, 23 points, 3 assists, 9 boards. He's gonna get anything he wants in this series as long as Embiid stays down. The old DeAndre Jordan cannot keep up with Bam, and then whoever the hell else is next in line behind DeAndre obviously can't check Bam. Bam and the depth of this team, I think, are the craziest things to me, because Victor Oladipo played 7 games for the Miami Heat, and now he just casually 28 minutes, 19 points, 6 rebounds, and assist in game 2.
Yep.
And that's a dude who played less than 10 games for the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year. Duncan Robinson, who is a respected role player in this league, one of the best 3-point shooters across the league, played 1 minute in game 2. Like they don't even need Duncan. They have guard. They're weak at guard right now with their starting point guard out, and they don't need to play Duncan Robinson.
Yep.
This team's scary, man. I agree. I think I do think the Bucks and Celtics are superior, but if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, which it looks like they will, whoever the Heat get, it's going to be a hell of a series.
Yeah, it's going to be a great series no matter what. All right, let's get to the other Heat Sun related team. the Phoenix Suns. I don't know. I wanted like I couldn't just say Heat related because they actually are the Heat. I don't know, warmth related, something like that. They're brothers in
Yeah.
warmth in
Fire
Sun
related.
logos, fire related. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Phoenix up 2-0 on Dallas. Dominated the end of the fourth quarter last night. Chris Paul, masterclass performance once again. Like it's just effortless for him in the fourth quarter at this point. Doncic had a great performance in the first half. Put up a great stat line the whole game. The one thing is he is not a great. They start like Chris Paul. Again, undebatable earlier. Dominique Foxworth put it perfectly, so I'm going to steal this. He's like, I can't imagine what it must feel like if you're Luka Doncic and Chris Paul is just pointing you out in front of the arena. And it's like, no. I want to go against you, because he did that the entire fourth quarter, and the Suns are just doing what the Suns do, man. They've done this for 2 playoffs straight. They're one of the most well-built and well-coached teams. Even with Doncic going off last night, there's just not a lot of answers for Phoenix. They've just got better players. They've got better personnel. And when you got a guy operating at the level that Chris Paul can, it's not much you can do. The disappearance of Jalen Brunson is probably one of the biggest things, but I'm not really surprised by that, because this is not a team that, hates itself like the Utah Jazz. This is the best team in the NBA. But it just sucks for Luka, but they need to get him some kind of better personnel, because I think the way this team is constructed, this is what their fate is against a team like Phoenix.
Yeah, for sure. And touching on the Brunson thing, I mean, if the Utah Jazz didn't have Rudy Gobert, they'd be one of the worst defensive teams in the entire league.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why Brunson was able to, create his own shot, get his own shot, dominate some of those games against Utah, because their perimeter defense is that bad. And the Suns are just completely the opposite. Booker can defend on the perimeter. CP3, especially a guy like Brunson, CP3 can lock you up. You're similar in size, even though CP3, isn't the best defender. And then Raquel Bridges, who was top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year. And he'll lock
and Jay Crowder. I mean, Jay Crowder is just, my brother just texted me about Jay Crowder. He's like, I love Jay Crowder, but he thinks he's the best player on every team in the game. Like, yes, that's the Jay Crowder experience. You love him, but he thinks that he's better than even you think he is. No matter
and he
what.
will fight anybody.
Exactly. He does
anybody.
Not give a fuck.
And speaking of Jay Crowder, you brought up Luka. It's crazy because even the Mavs and Jason Kidd and Luka himself knows that he can't defend, because they start games and start quarters and start halves with him guarding Jay Crowder. And that's not a knock at Jay Crowder, but say it's Tatum in the series. And obviously I'm using a homer example here, but Tatum would be on Booker or Bridges or even Ayton. Tatum's lining up with Brook Lopez in the Bucks series right now to start the game.
For sure.
And you have Luka on Jay Crowder. That in itself is what's going to kill them in this series. If Luka can't guard and he's getting no help from anyone else, I mean, we talked about a possible sweep in the Philly Miami Heat series.
This is a sweep. This is done. This series feels like it's over to me, to be honest.
I know it feels that way, but I thought the Mavs would put up a fight, and they just are not. And this is the last thing I want to say. It is my last note that I had on this series. I mean, I think me and you both said it looked like the Mavs made the right moves at the deadline. I heard people on SportsCenter saying it today that, they clearly won the trade, getting rid of Porzingis and bringing in Bertans and Dinwiddie. But Luka needs help, dude. I think Dinwiddie had 10 points in the first half and finished with 11. Or had 8 points and finished with 11, whatever it was. And Brunson, like you said, isn't stepping up. The big guys really aren't doing their thing in this series. Luka needs a secondary star for them to get past the second round, I think.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think that's been their thing for a while. I think that was their thing going into this year. Even when they traded Porzingis, it was a surprise because he was the swing at the secondary star. Obviously, that didn't work out, but they still need that guy. They need somebody to just be able to create off of him. But also, they're going to need big long defenders next to Luka for his whole career. This is what he's going to be like defensively.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give this like his fate as this is him defensively, because he is coming off of a calf injury still, and we don't know how much that's actually affecting his mobility. But it's not like he's a strong defender fully healthy anyways, and I don't think it would have been much different. But he definitely is not 100% right now. So
he also has room to improve, right? Like he's young,
22,
so
23, whatever he is.
yeah, we can give him the benefit of the doubt that he could at least work on his defense. But I mean, it's clear he's never going to be like an all NBA defender.
And he's also played himself into shape for the last couple of years. So it's
Yeah.
also like with Luka, it's like I want to believe that he's gonna do that, but he also just comes in fat as fuck and then gets into shape and he starts balling out. Like that's what's happened the last 2 years. So we'll see with Luka. But this Phoenix team, they're just
Book averaging 26.5 and CP3 averaging 23.5 in this series so far. That's going to be tough for anyone to beat Phoenix if that's those two guys averages, and then you have Ayton who's capable of 30, Bridges.
We're talking about that athleticism advantage with Memphis. I picked Golden State all year long, so I'm not going to pick against them at any point going forward. But if they're matched up in a series with Phoenix, and we're talking about them getting beat athletically by Memphis, and Memphis is probably more athletic overall as a team than Phoenix, but Phoenix is still, there's a significant youth length athleticism advantage over the Warriors with Phoenix, and that could cause, I think Golden State's offense will have a lot more problems with Phoenix than they will with Memphis at any point, despite the athleticism disadvantage they're facing right now. But would love to see Steph Curry and Chris Paul go at it for another round, because Chris has never beat him. He's never beat him. And if this is Phoenix's year, if this is their storybook year where they go wire to wire, best team in the league, and Chris Paul gets his illustrious title, they kind of have to beat. I guess either way, it's a good story. Either way, he gets to beat his longtime nemesis, or he gets to beat the young up-and-coming superstar and knock him down a peg. Either way, it's good. But beating Curry would be just a little bit sweeter for Chris Paul. I think he would admit that privately to his friends and never to the public. But
yeah, I agree. I tend to agree with that as well. So yeah, Suns. You think Suns are sweeping here? Suns, Mavs?
I think both warmth-related, fire-related teams are sweeping.
Okay.
Yeah,
let's go. I want to. Well, Joel not playing Game 3 is crazy. I thought that might be able to make it a series. I think the Heat are definitely sweeping. I'll say that the Mavs will get one. So maybe
That's
Suns
nice.
in 5.
Do it for Stevie.
Yeah, true. I mean, I love Luka. I like watching him play. Yeah. So we'll see, man. But yeah, it doesn't look good for those two squads right now. Are we gonna end it with this new segment here?
Let's do it.
All right. So going forward, guys, end of episodes, we're going to be taking our favorite tweet of the week from guys across the NBA.
Can you pull this up, or am I pulling it up here, like on your screen? Inside Baseball.
I don't have it. I don't have it pulled up.
Okay. Give me 1 second then. Keep talking your talk there.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring up just a tweet that's relatable, or we thought was the best from the week from guys across the NBA. Usually we'll probably do more notable guys, but we do follow a lot of players. This week, the first week, the king of Twitter himself, Kevin Durant. Jake is pulling it up now. I'll go to it just to read it here. Kevin Durant, 7 hours ago today, said, "It's like I enjoy doing nothing, but when I'm tired of doing nothing, I got to do something. This is my fight." And no idea what KD's talking about. Me and Jake both liked it. I think it's a very relatable, just tweet about life from Mr. Kevin Durant, who's usually just wreaking havoc on Twitter, causing drama, going back and forth with trolls. But he is.
He is a troublemaker. That is for sure.
Yeah. Just here he is dropping some wisdom. Jake has it pulled up now. Love it.
So I just want to know, what do you think the something that he decided to do was in this moment? Or did he not do anything? Because he said it's his fight, so maybe he just decided to stay doing nothing. Because when I'm in this battle, I usually tend to lean towards the nothing. Like if I'm doing nothing and I still feel like I should do something, or an opportunity is presented to do something, but I still feel like doing nothing, nothing usually wins out. I'm with Kevin here.
Yeah. I think I tend to lean that too. Unless like I'm like my like body's telling me that like I feel gross and I like physically need to do something. If I like need to like go for a walk or whatever, then it will be that. But I feel like this sounds way too like journalist of me. But my first thought, it went to he's talking about basketball. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that he is. But my first thought was he's talking about like being home from the playoffs, doing nothing. And now he's got to do something, but he doesn't know what, because ideally he wants to be playing basketball still in the second round.
Did you see him get booed in Monaco yesterday?
Yeah.
What the heck? What's wrong with Greece?
The hell was that?
What's your beef with Kevin Durant? What did he do? I don't understand why he got booed. I was like, what's wrong with you?
Just because they like Giannis that much better?
I guess, but like, golly, man, Kevin didn't do nothing to Giannis. Like, they beat him. Like, he lost. Poor Kevin. He's just sitting there like, bro, I'm just trying to watch it. What other NBA players in Greece right now watching the EuroLeague semifinals? Nobody. Give Kevin his props for supporting your basketball leagues.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I know that was strange. I also do just love that for Durant, that he's just been traveling and just watching hoops.
Yeah, good for him. I wonder what he.
Maybe that's the something.
Let's see this though. Wow, this is his other tweet. I think that's how we're supposed to. Periods of idleness and spiting periods of work. The go state. What you can read that. Potting. That's what I feel like he's just thinking about podcasting. He's one of us.
Oh, potting.
I mean, Katie's podcast is one of the best podcasts out there. You should be listening to the ETCs. Interview with Kyrie Irving this week, which was a normal, interesting Kyrie Irving interview as always. Some good. If you love Kyrie, you got what you wanted. If you hate Kyrie, you got what you wanted. That's he delivers for true. All of his fans and haters and whenever he speaks.
And
it's a great pod.
Kevin Durant has declined multiple times to go on Pardon My Take with Barstool, so I doubt that Kevin Durant will come on Happy Hour Hoops. But this is an open invitation to Kevin Durant. If you would like to come on Happy Hour Hoops and tell us about this nothing and something that's on your mind.
Now, did you see this the other day?
What is this?
So you see James Harden.
Oh, is this Tyrese Maxey talking?
He's gonna go hang out next to his boy Tyrese. They're gonna talk about what happened on the court there. Yeah, nah. Tyrese said, "Nah, buddy. That's not a good look." Me and you, whether it's hockey, basketball, whatever, been on a lot of benches. That's not a move that's ever good for the health of a good team. If guys are avoiding each other, just sitting next to each other for some amount of time, never a good sign. I've pulled that move players on a hockey bench where I moved away, and it's only an extreme anger or just disdain for the human being you're sitting next to that you would pull that move. Now to do it on live television in front of the world, damn, that's crazy.
Also, it's crazy that that's the order that it happened in. Like, it wasn't Harden rejecting or ignoring the much younger, much less experienced Tyrese Maxey, but Maxey is outperforming Harden in these playoffs. Crazy, man. Like, this is a James Harden who, nearly 2 years ago, or just around 2 years ago, was allegedly throwing the ball at rookies in Houston. And now here he is to the youngster and Tyrese Maxey. He's getting chewed out because he's not performing well enough in the playoffs. Madness. Madness.
One more before we go here. I don't know why I stopped sharing the screen. So, first of all, we're going to start with just Pat Bev's bio that says Mr. 94 feet, which is just ridiculous. Just ridiculous to start off with. But here was the tweet last night. 47 piece didn't happen in our series. Just saying. #facts. Pat Bev, what are you doing, bro? They lost in 6 games. You lost on your home court. I said to Dunny before this, I said, if it was game 7 and it was close against Memphis, then maybe you can come out, be a hater, talk shit, whatever. Not when you lose at home in game 6, Pat Bev. What was he thinking in this moment? And look, I love this. I
was gonna say,
Colts. Why is it the Indianapolis Colts? Like, is there a reason? Should we see what this is? No, it's
yeah,
just
it's from
Fab.
Fab to God.
Fab.
Yeah,
shout out Fab. Jordan scored 47 on us. Facts. He's putting up. What is he putting up banners for?
Isn't that that's like the Colts banner is a classic meme because they put up like a AFC championship game or like a first round playoff game or something along those lines. And now it's just made into a meme, and Jadis scored 47 on us. That's great. We love it, Fab. And yeah, Pat Bev, dude. I mean, like, it's known that he's a great on-ball defender, and like he's a good defender, and that's why he's in this league. But like Marcus Smart isn't even saying stuff like this. Like, he's not the best guard defender even in the league. So like what? And like you said, he got bounced. I just don't get it, man. Don't get it from Pat Bev. Yeah,
bro, he's just a clown, man. I'm so tired.
Yeah,
I'm so tired of hearing about Pat Bev.
And I stuck up for him, dude, when they went nuts. When they went nuts for the play,
that they deserve that. I'm with that too.
And I'm glad I stuck up for them. But now he's making me look like a jackass because he's being corny as hell.
This is what he does, man. This is the thing. Like, he never knows when to stop. It's just always go with Pat Bev. There's no chill.
I wish there wasn't Wi-Fi in Cancun.
If Pat Bev was on my team, I think I would hate. I don't think he's one of those guys that I would like on your team, hate on.
I'd pull the Tyrese Maxey on him, bro. Dude, get away from him.
That's the thing. You know, he seems like one of those guys that you're in the locker room with that you really just can't stand sometimes. That you're like, bro, you just need to stop talking like now. Like 2
or after ago. An L, dude, he's like still talking about his on-ball defense and how good it was.
Yeah, not a great look for Pat. So anything else? What are you looking forward to in the weekend? Anything fun NBA wise? The Celtics,
dude, Saturday. I love that we got the 2 good series all playing on the same days. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that the Warriors, Grizz, and Celtics, Bucks are the ones that are aligned with each other. I guess it's kind of selfish of me as a basketball fan because you would like to have 1-1, but it is nice.
I don't because I can like less pay attention to the other games because they've been so bad. And
that's true. And then having these back to back though, it's awesome, dude.
Dude, last Sunday was the best Sunday I've had since the NFL was going. Like, it was amazing. You've had better.
I did like the Grizzlies Warriors games, but
it's just
no comment.
Yeah. No, I was like, what do you mean? Well, you were there at least. See, being there for a lot, like I was there. We both got victimized. I guess I'm not a Bulls fan, but we both watched home teams get victimized by Giannis in person in literally a week span.
And that was my first time watching Giannis.
And that was my first time watching Giannis too. Yeah. It's scary. It's so horrifying.
I was happy in the first half. I'm like, oh, this is sick. It's it's still doable, and I can watch Giannis. And then I was like, oh my god, this is miserable. But no, it was still an awesome experience. I love checking off. I'm getting up there, dude, as far as like stars that I've seen play in person, and I was glad that I could check off Giannis. It was awesome.
Well, I've only been to a handful of NBA games at this point in my life. I want to say 3 Cavs games, maybe, and then these 2 Bulls games. That's pretty much it. Buffalo, no basketball team, obviously, but the besides Giannis and LeBron, the biggest star I have seen is your boy Jason Tatum in a very young Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
obviously in Game 6
in Cleveland, right? Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. I've seen. I just want to see how many I can rattle off right now. I've seen. It's nice, dude, because last playoffs, it was the first I killed 2 birds. I had already obviously seen Kyrie just from Celtics, and I saw his first game as a Brooklyn Net where he scored 50 in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's right.
which was sick. But last year I hadn't seen Durant or Harden, and I went to a Brooklyn Celtics playoff game, so I got both those guys in the same game. I had already seen LeBron, but this year I went to a Lakers Celtics game, and I got Westbrook and AD in the same game.
It's
And
pretty
I'd never
solid.
seen those guys. I've seen Luka in person, Giannis now.
Who's the best? Who's the best? You've been to Pat's games, I'm assuming, so you've probably seen Tom
Yeah,
Brady in person,
I've seen
which
Brady
has
in
got to be
person.
pretty good.
Kobe, I've seen Kobe in person
Oh,
too,
there you go. That's
which
great
was
too.
sick.
Yeah, especially for a Celtics Lakers Kobe game. That's
Low
awesome.
key, Carmelo was electric in the Knicks days. I went to a Celtics
Oh
Knicks game and like,
Nick's Celts has to just be a different level of fun at the
yeah,
Garden,
I
either
saw like
Garden.
I saw Melo put up 30, and then in the same game, a inbounds pass from Rondo alley oop to KG dunk
That's beautiful.
in the
Can't
fourth
ask for better
quarter.
than that.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been spoiled, and checking off Giannis was awesome, man.
Well,
I can't wait
that's
for the
my
next
plan now that I
superstar.
live in an NBA city is on the
Yeah,
next, especially next year for the full season. It's just gonna be. I gotta go see LeBron again. Check off one more time. I definitely gotta go see the Nets at some point. Those are teams. My best sports person though, yours has got to be Tom Brady. I would assume.
Mhm.
Obviously, I saw a 2007 Brett Favre in Orchard Park, New York, and that is a game I will
Wow,
cherish forever. Yeah,
that's
because
awesome.
Packers at Bills is a very rare game. It's only every 8 years, obviously. You know that
Yeah,
NFC wise, they only come once every 8 years. So yeah, to be able that my grandma had season tickets to the Bills. I don't know how long she had it for, like probably about 10 years, 15 years, something like that. Right above the tunnel side there in Orchard Park, and so we got to snag a couple games, obviously every year, a couple times, and one
that's
of them
awesome.
was Brett Favre coming to town. Yeah, Brett Favre, Tom Brady,
That's
two. Those are two great polls to go and see
yeah.
quarterbacks play. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and if y'all are listening to this now while we wrap up, tweet at us you can do best athlete like we went, or the best or your favorite NBA player that you've seen in person and someone that you want to see. That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. I keep checking those off the list. Go see live sports at events because
Yeah,
there's nothing like seeing these people in person at least once in your life. Like there is not comparable, and especially like a big game, like a playoff game. Like it's obviously it's expensive, whatever. I know people,
it's worth the
whatever your
money.
money, it is. If you have the money, it's worth the experience. Like I'm
Even the
still
Celtics
kicking
getting
myself.
clapped on Sunday,
It was still
like
great, right? Like
I
you
was
still had a
upset,
fun time.
but it
Yeah.
was to me it was still worth it.
My
Yes.
biggest thing is I was obviously not we're all poor college students in college. No one's got crazy money. And I
Mhm.
debated all day long whether I wanted to pay however much it was, $300, $400. It would have ended up for game 3 of the NBA finals, Warriors at Cavs, the game where Durant hit the deep three.
Oh
And
my god.
that'll be my biggest regret. The only regret, I don't live with any regrets. That is the one regret I will always have in my life, is
It's
not just spending
fair.
that money. Even though I would have been devastated, I would have been like so hurt
Yeah, that's
seeing Kevin
heartbreaking.
Durant do that. It would have been a story that I could have told. So that's the one thing. That's why I'm saying this at the end of this podcast is if you feel like you need to go to it, because
Yes.
you don't want to miss basketball history like Kevin Durant hitting a three in LeBron James's face to go up 3-0, which was not fun to watch. And it would have honestly, I think if I went, I would have not been saying this right now. I would have been like, that is the biggest waste of $300 in my life. Should have never went to that game. That's probably what I'd be saying, but I didn't go. So that's not what I'm saying. Anyways, anything to go off of there, Dunny?
No, I want to echo that. If you're on the fence about a sports game, especially playoffs, go to it.
Send it.
You'll make the memories. It'll be worth it.
All
And
right,
that's that.
folks. Thank you for Donovan Holden. This is Jake Michael. Follow us at Happy Hour Hoops. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Enjoy the games this weekend.
Yes, it's gonna be
Let it
great.
ride. Let's see what we got. We'll be back next week sometime. Maybe some teams moved on to the conference finals. We'll see.